War rages across the mortal realms. New alliances are formed while others lie shattered, and the dominant powers ever seek their next conquest. While this and countless other battles rage on, one fact is becoming clear. The season of war has begun. This video is brought to you by the support of our channel members and the FLGS Partners, Warfire Minis, and X-Planet. We'd also like to give a big shout out to Baron of Dice for their support of the channel. We've long been fans of their incredible designs and have even ordered custom dice ourselves, so we're super excited to get to showcase their awesome work.
Hello and welcome to Season of War! Today we are excited to bring you another game of Age of Sigmar. Jake, we've got an exciting one on the table
What
today.
a game it is!
Yes.
Could not be happier to be back for this.
Yep. We're debuting the new Flesh Eater Torch
Yes.
Battle Tome for the first time on the channel. So we want to start off by saying a big thank you to Games Workshop, who did grant us early access to this Battle Tome and the starter set, so we got the new units on the table here today. Be gentle on us. I had 3 hours to paint them up this afternoon, but we wanted to get them out and again did this first look, so super excited to explore the book in general.
Yeah, this is, I've been counting down the days. I've been counting, when I fall asleep, I count more beg nights jumping over the moon.
Nice.
Okay? I'm so hyped for this book. And I think, I haven't had a super long time to digest it, but from what I have had time to process, loving it. I think they've kept the identity. I think they've made the parts that Flesh Eater Quartz is good at even better. And look at this ghoulish horde in front of me. I can't wait to unleash this.
We got some bodies on the table. But jumping into the mission, we are playing Towers in the Tundra, so we got 2 objectives on the table. It's hold 1 or hold both for storing, then your battle tactic. We also have a tower at each end of the battlefield, which if we control ours at the end of the battle, we score 2 points, and if our opponent does not control theirs, it's another 2 points. Battle tactics, grand strategies as normal. And yeah, I guess, Jake, why don't you take us into lists?
Oh, I thought you'd never ask. Okay, so this is the new Flesh Eaters, and this will be my Hollowmorn list. So Hollowmorn is one of the Grand Courts that has stuck around. Actually, all 4 have stuck around since the last book. But rather than rerolling wounds of 1 on the charge, Hollowmorn now just makes knights do extra damage on the charge. So that'll be your Flayers, your Horrors, and your new Morbeg Knights. The Riders, not the Mounts, all have +1 damage when they charge. Pretty gross sub-faction. Additionally, the Delusion mechanic is technically chosen after deployment, but for this game, I will be the Defenders of the Realm Delusion, which will give me +1 to save.
Not bad.
For any unit that's contesting an objective that I control.
Okay, so there's some caveats.
Yeah, there's a caveat. Grand strat-wise, Feck was famous last season for having nothing to do but put a guy in a chair and he sits there all game. Well, guess what? They gave us a grand strat that does exactly that in different words. So we're going to do Defend the Throne. This is basically spellcasting Savant with an extra step. At the end of the game, I score this if A, my throne is on the table, B, it has not been knocked down or picked up by Broad and thrown off the table, and C, it's still being garrisoned. And because that Archregent will likely never move, hopefully that solves that. Jumping into my list itself, Time is a Circle. Crypt Horrors, they're still here. They're still great. We love them. You know them. And so we've got 9 and 9, the gold standard. We've also got 3. In Hollowmorn, they are Battle Line. So that will fill my Battle Line slots. We've got a squad of 20 ghouls who are basically doing a clan rat impersonation. Notably, ghouls now come in minimum squad size of 20. We've also got a unit of Crypt Guard. These are the new super ghouls, and they are, I like them a lot. So they give nearby heroes a ward of 5 up. They're fighty in a pinch. Just a great unit. In terms of heroes, we've got the Regent on his chair. We have got the new Gore Warden, who is quite valuable, I think, as a flying abhorrent. He can get into the combat, rack up those, the new mechanic, which is deed points, rack up those deed points quickly. We've got the Marrow Scroll Herald, who I think has had maybe the biggest glow up of any hero. Nothing's changed on his War Scroll, but just in the context of the army, having a courtier that is invisible is very valuable. And he will be my general with the command trait Dark Taskmaster. So when he musters, the cost of mustering is reduced by 1.
Okay.
What that means is every single muster point or deed point brings back 1 knight, or every single deed point alternatively brings back 2 serfs. So if he's fully stacked with 6 deed points, he just brings back 6 knights.
Not bad.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad at all. We've got a Crypt Haunter Courtier. He's very smashy now. 5 attacks, 4s, 3s, -2, 3 damage flat. And we have a Ghast Courtier. If I had the model, he'd just be another Marrow Scroll, but make do with what we got. That's 2,000 points on the nose.
Nice.
I have the relic, I believe they're called the Charnel Vestments, that make the Marrow Scroll a priest. He knows the prayer Crimson Conviction or Charnel Conviction. 3 up, give a friendly unit a 5 up ward. And my second relic, just through lack of time and for funsies, I will put the once per battle round free command point usage on the Crypt Haunter.
Sounds good. Awesome. Well, then, for myself, I am playing Slaves to Darkness.
Yes.
Well, we have a new army across the table. I'm doing a throwback to old army. This is basically my LVO list from last year, so nearly a year ago, where I, again, have Archaon on the table. So this is the first time we've had him out in a while, but I'm playing Host the Ever-Chosen, so biggest thing in that is that it makes Chosen battle line and they can rally on 5s.
Nice.
I do have a unit of 10 Chosen. They are marked Slaanesh, as well as my Chaos Sorcerer Lord. It's also marked Slaanesh, so I can potentially give them that nice run and charge.
For sure.
Help them get up the board. My Chaos Sorcerer Lord is my general. He's actually got the command trait Shaman of the Chilled Lands, so he has access to all the new spells. And then he has the artifact to cast an additional spell once per game from any of the lore spells.
Yep.
Then obviously we got the big boy Archaon, who's hopefully going to be able to has to do some work for his points cost today. And he then is flanked by a unit of 10 Nurdle Chaos Knights.
Nasty.
They've got the banner. Actually, both of the units have an ensorcel banner. That's another great thing about...
oh, you get an extra banner?
Yeah, an extra banner in Host of the Ever-Chosen. So 10 Nurdle Knights are hopefully going to hold it down as well. And then for my 5th unit and 3rd battle line, very thin here, I've got a unit of Corvus Cabal off the table right now. They're going to be deep striking, hopefully being hidden and secretive and all those fun things. But again, only 5 units, which in this day and age doesn't seem like a lot. So hopefully it's enough to cover. We only got 2 objectives to fight on, so that's at least going for me. And with that, I was all wrapped up in a battle regiment, so I was 1 drop.
I was a million.
You were a lot, and Jake, I'm just so excited to see the new Flesh Eater Courts.
Here it comes.
That we're going to go into. Flesh Eaters turn 1.
After assembling their royal hosts to march for war, the Flesh Eaters' battle tactic is magical dominance. The Marrow Scroll Herald gives a rousing oration to generate 4 noble deed points, then Archaon uses heroic leadership. The Gore Warden casts Hoarfrost on 1 unit of Crypt Horrors, making them hit on 2s. The Archregent fails to cast Mystic Shield, but casts Deranged Transformation on the Morbeg Knights and Horrors, adding 2 inches to their movement and +1 to wound. Lastly, the Marrow Scroll Herald chants for Carnal Conviction on the Horrors, granting a 5-up ward save. Holding back their disciplined ranks of noble knights, the Flesh Eaters complete their battle tactic and score 4 points.
So that was basically like every FEC turn 1 I've ever played ever on this channel.
Yep.
I did nothing. I basically just used the new FEC heroic action, which allows me to generate deed points, which is great. I got 5 on my Marrow Scroll, which means he's fully loaded. He could bring back up to 5 knights, which is nothing to... pretty gross.
Yeah, recurring 2 unit.
Yep, we got all our buffs off. We got our 5-up ward on these horrors. These guys have Hoarfrost to hit on 1s. We got +1 to wound bubbles over here. All I could really do, again, not really in threat range. One thing that FEC kind of did lose in the transition to the new book is a little bit of the projection.
Yep.
You can't just send a Terrorgeist run and charge across the board. These guys can't get triple deranged transformation and destroy you from across the board. So, yep, I've got to play a bit more honest now. So I'm just going to brace for what could be a Slave's double turn.
Yeah, fingers crossed. We'll find out quick, hopefully with Archaon, but I guess, 4 points with this mission.
4 points.
And we'll jump into Slaves to Darkness, turn 1.
as Archaon calls for the blessing of Nurgle, and the Chaos Chosen gain an additional rend from Slaughterer's strength, the Slaves to Darkness battle tactic is run them down. The Sorcerer Lord uses Draw on Power to cast with 3 dice, while the Gore Warden gives a rousing oration and gains 2 noble deed points. Archaon uses the Eye of Shirian and learns that they will win the next priority. The Sorcerer Lord has Demonic Power Unbound, but Hoarfrost makes the Chaos Chosen wound on 2s. Archaon casts Mystic Shield on himself and Demonic Speed on the Chaos Knights. As the Chaos forces rush across the battlefield, the Morbeg Knights redeploy and move 5 inches and close their ranks. Wanting to join combat early, the Chosen use at the double, and the Sorcerer Lord later uses Close in for the kill so they can run and still charge. The Chaos Knights use Forward to Victory and make their charge, but put themselves in a curious position. Archaon's Mount Dorgar uses Filth Spewer, but only deals 1 mortal wound to the ghouls. The Chosen fight first and use all-out attack, then deal over 40 damage and completely wipe out the horrors. The Morbeg Knights are next to fight and deal 10 damage to the Nurgle Knights, which is actually pretty impressive. Archaon attacks next, but only kills 8 ghouls. Then the ghouls retaliate and deal 2 damage to the Chosen. Last to fight, the Nurgle Knights deal 7 damage to the Morbeg Knights. Then 3 ghouls flee from battle shock after the fighting is done. Taking an aggressive strategy to capitalize on the Dark God's blessings, the Slaves to Darkness complete their battle tactic and score 4 points.
Slaves to Darkness, turn 1. As we hoped for, there was some good carnage in there.
Yeah.
But it wasn't quite enough. You think, kill a unit of horrors, that was obviously a good thing.
Very good.
Very good. But we came into this turn, or at the start of the turn, I rolled the Eye of Shirian with, because, turn 2 is so pivotal, right?
Sure.
I'm either aggressive and I want the double.
Yes.
Or if I'm not getting the double, I would be more defensive.
Gotcha.
Here with the Eye of Shirian, I know I'm getting the double. So I knew from the start, so okay, let's go battle tactic, everything around, charging in, getting in, doing some damage, hoping that I could then take that double and cascade down and...
Which it looked like you were in a great position to do.
Yes. Now, in hindsight, there were a couple things. Basically, the reason this wasn't a perfect turn is that all 3 of my units are tied up in combat right now.
Right.
I made a big charge with the Chosen, got them around into the horrors, which made that play possible.
Yep.
But because I took them out in the first activation, I didn't bother to use the second activation on the Chosen.
Right.
And then by the time Archaon fought, you still had half a unit there, 10 ghouls, which that many are not fleeing, even though Archaon's super scary.
Very true.
So those units are tied up in combat, and it was too late to use my double activation, which if I could have used it, like the way you can use the just a second activation with the Varangard.
I was going to say the Varangard, yeah.
These ones you have to choose after they fight, so I didn't do it at the time, hoping I didn't need it. It's costing me now though, because I would rather be out of combat and have 1 full activation.
Yeah, you'd be the good
than be stuck in combat with 2.
Sure.
So that's that. Over on this side, you redeployed the Morbeg Knights to make me either get stuck in with the horrors.
Then you had a tricky play.
Yeah, so I charged the ghouls and tagged them in combat at half inch, which allowed me to pile in and stay outside of, or stay just within 1 inch for their attack range of the Morbeg Knights. So I could get my attacks in, but not draw in the horrors because you were outside of, I was within 3, outside 2.
Yeah.
But the way that worked, the Morbeg Knights actually doing some decent damage. I had some casualties, which also meant I honestly didn't expect you to kill a Nurgle Knight, let alone
me
3.
Too. Hey, me too.
I know, right?
Morbeg Knights.
Yeah. So I was hoping to fight second with them and have 3 knights that would probably do 10 damage to the ghouls.
Absolutely.
Which is, again, this is why I didn't do the double activation with the Chosen, and have these guys, which could have been 5, but you smartly piled away. finish off the Morbid Knights. And then in a perfect world, I would have had all 3 out of combat with still the double activation.
And you get a rally on your next turn. This guy, I'm like, big collapse.
But again here, because of the Morbid Knights doing some good damage there, you have the +1 to wound to balance things out.
+1 hit, +1 wound.
Yep, and that's just the way she goes. So, yeah, not loving it. We were down out of CP, so I couldn't even all-out defense them, which, in hindsight, I got a little greedy wanting a bigger charge with them because I rolled really low. I turned 1 die from the lowest to the highest, but it's still low charge overall. So I wanted a little bit more so I could make that play happen. Meant I didn't have the all-out defense and then took those casualties. And yeah, again, 3 Nurgle Knights are going to kill. Really, I would only need to kill 4 more ghouls because that would have caused the 3 more to flee.
Yes. Yep.
So
yeah, exactly.
Again, very close to being able to pull all that off. I think it was a good plan. Just the Morbid Knights threw a hiccup in there for me.
A little bit in the
But I got my 4 points. We know I am going again.
Oh, next.
So I'm going to kill those ghouls for sure.
Sure, and help me.
But not a whole lot more than that. It's going to be interesting. Yeah, we'll just jump into it. Going to Slaves to Darkness, turn 2.
Eager to capitalize on their unholy foresight, the Slaves to Darkness battle tactic is Enthrall to Chaos. The Sorcerer Lord uses Draw on Power, while the Gore Warden again uses Rousing Orator. The Sorcerer Lord casts Demonic Power on Archaon. Then Archaon has Mystic Shield unbound, but casts an Arcane Bolt and unleashes it into the ghouls. Already engaged in combat, Dorgar fails to roar, but Archaon piles in and takes out the unit of 3 horrors in combat. Next to fight, the ghouls deal just 2 damage, but it's enough to finish off one of the Chosen. The Chaos Knights take out the last Morbid Knight, also tagging the horrors to tie them up in combat. The horrors use all-out attack, but with the Nurgle Knights also using all-out defense, the horrors are unable to deal any damage when they fight. Last to attack, the Chosen swing their weapons and completely obliterate the remaining ghouls. Firmly in control of the fighting, the Slaves to Darkness complete their battle tactic and score 4 points.
Slaves, turn 2, and again, well, it could have been a devastating turn 2.
Sure.
It was still a really good one regardless.
Yeah.
I managed to pile in Archaon to take out the small unit of horrors, so it's another unit gone, and then the Chosen finish off the ghouls for the battle tactic, gave me an easy battle tactic, so not the end of the world. And other than that, pretty much just finished off the Morbid Knights, and then the big decision point was to tag the horrors, tying them into combat. Keeps you from being on the charge and getting the buffs with
what
that.
I want.
And less guys in combat, compared to a full charge and wraparound pile in. It's limiting you over turns. So hoping that it's going to keep me. I don't know that I'll keep that objective over a couple turns, but at least keep you tied up and putting in work to take it back. Hoping it can buy me a little bit of an advantage early in scoring, and then we can kind of hunker down after that. But there's a lot of game to be played, some priority back and forth, and we're going to see what the new summoning, or not summoning, but recursion mechanics are like, and kind of how impactful they can be. So it's going to be really interesting, I think.
There's a lot of ghouls missing, but don't blink.
Yeah.
Might be a lot of horrors coming back.
Yeah, we'll find out and just jump into Flesh Eater Courts turn 2.
Staggering from the invaders' ferocious assault, the Flesh Eater's battle tactic is led into the Maelstrom. The Gore Warden gives another rousing oration, then Archaon uses heroic leadership and tries to rally a Chosen, but fails. The Archregent casts Deranged Transformation on the horrors for +2 move and +1 to wound. Then he miscasts Carrion Call, but is able to heal the wounds. The Gore Warden then casts Hoarfrost on the Crypt Haunter Courtier, making him hit on 2s. Lastly, the Marrow Scroll Herald chants for Charnel Conviction on the horrors, giving them a 5-up ward. The Gore Warden uses his deed points to summon 5 horrors. Then the Marrow Scroll musters 4 more thanks to his command trait, Cruel Taskmaster. As the undead forces charge in, Archaon uses By My Will on the Chosen, allowing them to fight on death. The Crypt Haunter Courtier fights first, dealing 6 damage to the Chosen, also generating 6 Noble Deed points, which will give the Horrors an additional attack thanks to Feeding Frenzy. The slain Chosen manage to take down one enemy as they fall, but the Horrors still manage to take down the rest of the Chosen, but suffer another 21 damage from the Chosen as they fall. The Chaos Knights fight next, but deal no damage. Then they use all-out defense as the Courtier and Horrors attack, but they only suffer 3 wounds in total. The Corvus Cabal also attack, but only manage to deal 1 damage to the Horrors, though one Horror flees from battle shock. As their noble knights valiantly fight against the forces of chaos, the Flesh Eaters complete their battle tactic and score 2 points.
What an awesome showcase turn for the combo I was really excited about, that I was telling you about as soon as I got here. This is sort of the thing that, like, when I was just parsing through the book, I was like, oh man, I gotta get this off. So in Poetic Justice, the 9 horrors that were originally slain by the Chosen came back to life, made a glorious charge off the board, and wiped them out. And we accomplished this through having 6 points stacked up on the Abhorrent Gore Warden.
The deed points, which is the big allegiance thing.
Yep, so that revives unit at half strength, rounding up, so 5 guys. At that point, you can also muster at the end of the movement phase now. And with the general, who is also at 6 points, every point can bring back a knight instead of every 2 points, as discussed.
And notable, you're allowed to muster back to full strength.
Yes, it's not like Soulblight.
Beyond the half strength starting limit.
Yes, explicitly they count as being slain and they can be returned to the unit, which is amazing. Because you can put them back here. Now all of a sudden it's not a 9-inch charge.
6.
Now, unfortunately I did miscast, but I would have had, so I'd be 6 inches away, on average, plus D6, looking at a 3 or 4-inch charge with a full strength unit of horrors. Just crazy. Like, harkens back to the old Living City Fulminators back in the day.
And just, you think about the mobility, like you said, the Gore Warden being able to dart around and then bringing it back somewhere else. Like, it's really cool. It's only not game breaking because of Archaon's command ability.
Yeah, that was key. That was clutch.
So here, and there was some really neat interaction there. So I did fight on death with Archaon by my will on the Chosen. Writing was on the wall that they were to take a bunch of damage. So you actually, though, then did utilize another ability in combat. Fighting first. Yeah, so I did that. So the Courtier now, a few of the Courtiers actually have this ability. When the Courtier is in combat, when they fight, they choose the relevant like Serf or Knight unit to fight next. Now, a lot of armies have that. Why is it really important in Flesh Eater Courts? Well, it gives the hero a chance to allocate wounds first, which lets them stack up deed points. We saw it here. He did exactly 6, which gave them an extra attack. On the Horrors, the Horrors, which was, boom, just what we needed. Literally the difference of like maybe 1 or 2 Chosen living.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it came down to like almost exact dice rolls,
you did like maybe 3 or 4 extra damage.
So that was massive. Great. He's a great little hero. So now, notably, looking at sort of the courtiers that have got little combats in, we've got a lot of muster points stacked up. 6 here, we've got 2 left over here. So the effect double turn, it could be very scary. You could be looking at all of these guys coming back.
And we were talking about during the turn, very important. You can see why it could have been game breaking had I not been stuck in combat and been able to kill 2 of those heroes.
Who had the dice stacked up. Very different situation. Either way, you've done a great job. You're holding the objectives. You're doing slaves things. Obviously, getting through Nurgle Knights is a little bit difficult. Might be there all game. But at least we've made progress on this flank.
Very interesting. Now, priorities are going to be big. Again, like you said, you're potentially bringing a butt. You're almost going to be able to replenish that unit to full, potentially. If you get prio. Now, this is so close. So the Corvus Cabal did 1 damage. If them or the Chosen had have done 1 more damage, would have meant 1 more guy was dead, and you would have had then 2 fleeing, which would have been the remaining 2. So it could have been the unit completely gone and wiped off the face of this earth. With the priority, I could be dealing with a full strength unit if it goes badly.
That's true.
So that's very scary and just worth noting. Also kicking myself because I was about like an inch out of being able to put demonic power on the Chosen on my last turn. Went on Archaon, obviously, that hurts. Because, they could have potentially just killed that unit on the fight on death.
Absolutely.
But Jake,
uh-oh,
we're into the fated priority.
Oh no!
For round 3.
Show me the cup.
That's a 1.
Oh, the 2. Let's go.
Okay, well.
Yeah. Praise you, Shorin.
Right.
We're going.
All right, we're gonna go into Flesh Eater towards turn 3.
Looking to turn the tides of war, the Flesh Eater's battle tactic is the Ties of Chivalry. The Marrow Scroll Herald gives a rousing oration, and Archaon uses heroic leadership. The Archregent casts Carrion Call, which allows summoned units to move d6 inches. Then Deranged Transformation gives +2 move and +1 to wound to the horrors. Lastly, the Gore Warden casts Mystic Shield on themselves, while the Marrow Scroll Herald fails his chant for Charnel Conviction. The Archregent summons 10 ghouls, who then move 6 inches thanks to Carrion Call. The Crypt Haunter Courtier musters and returns 3 horrors, then the Marrow Scroll Herald musters 3 more. The Crypt Haunter Courtier fights first and takes out the Corvus Cabal, again maxing out his noble deed points. The Chaos Knights attack next and deal 6 damage to the horrors, then they use all-out defense when the Courtier attacks, but he only deals 1 damage. The Crypt Ghouls then surround the Chaos Sorcerer Lord and manage to take down the opposing general. The Gore Warden deals no damage, then the horrors use all-out attack, but still only manage to deal 6 wounds to the Knights. Quickly taking control of the western flank, the Flesh Eaters complete their battle tactic and score 3 points.
Well, I was quite hype when I saw that too.
Yep.
And the turn, I think, lived up to the hype. This was a vintage effect turn. Nice to see that in the new Battle Tome.
Yes,
Nothing's changed. Nothing's changed.
It's gotten better. I mean, like the horrors, it feels like they're just better output, better damage.
Yeah, on the charge for sure. Yeah. So what happened this turn? Well, we did a lot of cool things. Now, because all the effect stuff now happens at the end of the movement phase, you can sequence it however you want.
Yep.
Which lets you do
move into ranges.
Move into
well.
range. Do your Carrion Call D6. Muster into other people's ranges. So there's still a lot of that techiness that the old effect book had. They simplified it a lot. They streamlined it a lot. But there is still a little bit of that finesse play there, which is great. Obviously, our 2 horrors have multiplied back to 8. Combat continues over here. Obviously, Chaos Nurgle Knights are probably one of the toughest targets for horrors to get through. But just through attrition, we're working our way through. We were able to crush this flank. So the ghouls made their charge from the board edge. The Courtier, oh my god. The Courtier hits so hard now. He's so gross.
Wiped out the Corvus Cabal.
Yeah.
Got back to 6 deed points.
Yeah, well that's the thing. Yeah, the Corvus Cabal aren't a hard target, but that's perfect. That's the whole thing, right? Because whenever you have a chance for your Courtier to get into a soft target like that, that's a free 6 deed points. Which is great on a Courtier, even stronger on a Gore Warden. Didn't get enough damage over there to charge him up, but I am swarming the board with ghouls, trying to overrun you. Happy with how that turn played out. Trying to give Archaon too many fires to put out. Yeah. And let's just see where he decides to devote his energies. Yeah, it's like you said, it's gonna be tough, and yeah, we're gonna have to scrape a little bit. Archaon at least wanted his sorcerer buddy around to hopefully cast a blizzard. Yeah. But without that, I don't really have a hope to like take out a unit of horrors with Archaon alone. Maybe over a double, but that's asking a lot even. So we're gonna see what we can do. There's still a fight, and it's still a game of points, for sure. And we have a lead. So we're gonna try and hold on until the end and just jump into Slaves to Darkness, turn 3. Having taken crippling losses to their force, the Slaves to Darkness battle tactic is Magical Dominance. Archaon uses their finest hour, while the Gore Warden gives another rousing oration. Tapping into the primal powers, Archaon casts Mystic Shield and secures their battle tactic. As the Everchosen closes in, the Gore Warden redeploys and moves 3 inches further away.
Dorgar's Filth Spewer deals 3 mortals to the horrors, then Archaon attacks and deals 12 more damage to them. The Crypt Ghast Courtier attacks and deals 2 damage to Archaon, then the horrors use all-out attack and deal 2 more. Consolidating their forces to hold the eastern objective, the Slaves to Darkness complete their battle tactic and score 3 points.
Slaves turn 3, and Archaon decided to cut its losses, and there's no way I was going to be able to take this one back.
Sure.
I killed 4 horrors, and that was pretty good in all honesty.
Yep.
So I wanted to double down on holding and securing one objective to try and store as much as possible, deny points to you, claim one objective. It's going to be tough to really hold on in this one. But I do get my 3 points here, so I do have the lead still. But basically, this turn is, again, the game is now more about storing than doing damage. Yep. I mean, it always is, but really that's where my mind is at. I'm not going to be removing units, more than likely, unless it's like heroes or chaff or whatever. Or I get the double here, actually could give me a chance to, which would be big.
Yep.
I almost don't want to, though, because then you bring them back at 9. I guess they're
would
coming
be
back.
nice.
Yeah, they're coming back one way or another, likely, and I can take out the heroes. Again, setting up for battle tactics, I went for magical dominance now. It's a risk here, but it allowed me to retreat out these guys and potentially go for the one to put a unit that's outside of my territory into my enemy territory with a banner.
Yes.
So I could do that one next turn. And then potentially intimidate turn 5.
Yep.
So that's the hope that I'll be able to store my tactics. But next step is priority.
Here we go. A fateful step.
Yep. That's a 2.
4?
Okay, not what I was looking for.
I think I'll take it.
Sounds good. Yeah, we'll go into Flesh Eater Courts, turn 4.
Eager to build on their momentum, the Flesh Eater Court's battle tactic is surround and destroy. The Gore Warden gives a rousing oration, then Archaon uses heroic leadership and rallies back 2 Chaos Knights. The Archregent casts Mystic Shield, but has Deranged Transformation unbound. The Gore Warden casts an Arcane Bolt, then the Marrow Scroll Herald chants for Charnel Conviction, and gives a 5-up ward to the Horrors. The Crypt Ghast Courtier musters 3 horrors, and the Marrow Scroll Herald musters 1 more. Hoping to close in with Archaon, the horrors use Forward to Victory, but fail to make their long charge. Archaon's mount, Dorgar, fails to slay the Courtier with Skullgorger. Archaon then uses all-out defense as the horrors attack, and they only manage to deal 3 damage. Retaliating, Archaon fights back and deals another 14 damage to the horrors. Unable to reinforce their eastern flank fast enough, the Flesh Eaters complete their battle tactic, but score just 3 points.
Not much due in this turn. I took the prio just to muster back, kind of keep the status quo. Figured I would definitely lose those horrors if I didn't take it. So just sort of called it non-interactive battle tactic. Started moving to this side of the board to give you more to think about. Elected to keep the horrors in combat just so Archaon would not have free reign to run around, make him deal with it. Not sure how I feel about that in hindsight. There's a couple of strategic considerations both ways. But you'd get a double charge of them next turn anyway. Yeah. So it's not. I'd rather have him stay there. Potentially
also gives me led into the Maelstrom.
Sure.
Another tactic option.
Absolutely. So. Yeah. So yeah, that's sort of where we are. It's at that point in the game where it's slowing down and it becomes a scrape for points.
Yes. Yep. And yeah, we're gonna I guess be going into it. And final turns going into Slaves to Darkness, turn 4.
Primed to secure their objective, the Slaves to Darkness battle tactic is the March of Ruin. Archaon uses heroic leadership and rallies back 2 more knights, while the Gore Warden uses their finest hour. Archaon casts Mystic Shield on himself, but has Arcane Bolt unbound. Dorgar again fails to slay the courtier using Skullgorger. The Chaos Knights fight first and use all-out attack, then easily finish off the unit of horrors. The Cryptghast courtier fights in desperation but deals no damage, then Archaon attacks back and takes him out. Taking out their foe's last starting battle line, which will be key for their grand strategy, the Slaves to Darkness complete their battle tactic and score 3 points.
All right, Slaves turn 4, and things got interesting, or getting interesting here.
Yeah.
Realizing that with taking down your horrors, that was your final battle line unit.
Yes.
From your starting army.
Yes.
So long as my Nurgle Knights live, which they will, I'll get my grand strategy. So it's very interesting now, this game of points and scoring and trying to min-max, get everything we can and deny.
Yeah.
It's going to be a very interesting turn 5, just to see where the final pieces lay.
Yeah.
And
It'll be tricky.
yeah, there's, I guess, not much to say. Rallied 2 more knights back, charged them in, they obliterated the horrors. Archaon got to finish off the Cryptghast courtier. And that, again, was enough. Got my battle tactic. It's going to send us into round 5.
Here we go.
So priority. That's a 6.
They finally got one.
Okay. And just thinking it through, I was thinking about, is the world where it makes more sense to give away the turn, let you come in, and then hold the objective, whatever. I think the biggest thing is I can afford to give up this point on your turn.
Yes.
So I'm going to take the turn, go for Intimidate, and it'll be a quick turn of just moving, basically.
Let's see it.
With the engagement nearing its end, the Slaves to Darkness battle tactic is Intimidate the Invaders. Archaon heroically recovers 2 wounds, while the Marrow Scroll Herald gives another rousing oration. The Chaos Knights rally and return another 2 models, then Archaon has Mystic Shield unbound. Laying claim to their enemy's Wizard Tower, the Slaves to Darkness complete their battle tactic and score 3 points.
Slaves turn 5, and again, maximizing points and trying to deny.
Yeah.
I'm willing to give up the 1 point here. I don't think that's going to make or break it. 2, reinforce the tower.
Yep.
Put 15 bodies around there because I also rallied back the 2 remaining Chaos Knights, so back to full there. Battle tactics guaranteed.
Yes.
Archaon cast, but had Mystic Shield unbound. That's about it. Intimidate, so save the easy battle tactic turn 5, so we'll get that. We got the 3 points. Jake?
I gotta find some points somehow.
There's still some chances. There's still points on the table.
It's a thin sliver.
Yeah, we're just...
I am delusional.
Yes, there's potential for Effect to pull it out here, but we're to jump into the final turn of the game and go into Flesh Eater Courts turn 5.
Unwilling to let reality stand in the way of their delusions, the Flesh Eater's battle tactic is Intimidate the Invaders. The Marrow Scroll Herald gives a rousing oration, while Archaon heroically recovers 3 more wounds. The Gore Warden casts an Arcane Bolt and Mystic Shield, then the Archregent casts Carrion Call, allowing summoned units to move d6 inches. The Gore Warden summons 5 horrors back to the battlefield, and they then move 1 inch thanks to Carrion Call. The first unit of horrors makes their charge, while the second unit is forced to use forward to victory. Realizing there is no chance of removing all the trespassers, the Flesh Eaters relent, but complete their battle tactic and score 4 points.
Okay, so we scrambled, we clawed, and we scrabbled away across the battlefield.
There was a dream.
There was a dream.
Yep.
And it was 80% true.
Yeah.
But just when I got to my most delusional, sanity struck me in the face.
Yeah.
Like a baseball bat.
So the big thing here that Jake, you were trying to do was outnumber me around the tower.
Yes.
You brought back a unit because you got 2 spells off with this guy to get to enough deed points or whatever.
Yep. Lucky.
And then the big thing was, though, you had to somehow make a massive charge and pile in to get basically all those horrors.
Even then.
Next to the tower. And then it would be... I would still have 1 more model, so you would have to kill 2 knights with the other unit and have no horrors die.
Yeah.
So it was unlikely, but worth us playing
exploring.
it out and taking a shot. Yeah.
I always try to, never always go
Do
for
everything you can.
that sliver of hope.
Yep. In the end, you had to re-roll your charge and didn't make a big enough one that you were going to be able to contest the tower in any meaningful way.
And that wraps it up with, I think it's a 1 point differential?
Yes.
Yeah, that pin turn was what did me in.
Yeah, so right now it's 17-16 for slaves.
Yep.
We're going to deny each other control of our own towers, which is 2 points each at the end of the game. And we'll both store our grand strategies here. So it's 5 points? So 22-21 slaves. A very good game, very close game.
Yep, well played.
Very exciting to see the new flesh eaters. And honestly, I'm still impressed with this, what feels like an old...
It held up. It's an oldie, but it's a goodie.
Yeah.
You can see why it did well.
Yeah, puttering through, but RKO doing enough, and obviously the resiliency of the Nurgle Knights was really good. But that's not what we're excited about, Jake.
Yes.
What do you think about first game with Flesh Eaters?
Like it a lot. So if we're thinking about the last battle tome, right? The two pillars of Flesh Eater Courts for the longest time have been overwhelming force and projection, the ability to get that force, get into something, double fight, extra attacks, and crazy recursion.
Yep.
And so in the new book, the recursion has actually gotten better. Muster is better. You have more agency and control over it. It happens at the end of the movement phase now, so you don't have to be as meticulous with your positioning. It's a lot more forgiving. And the ability to bring back entire units back and do that crazy combo is nasty, to say the least. Now, on the other hand, there's a trade-off for that. As crazy as that recursion now is, the trade-off is that Fek has lost some power and some projection. What I mean by that specifically is, so deranged transformation is no longer 12-inch extra move. Run and charge is in the book, but it's harder to get, and you'd have to maybe do things in list building you don't want to do to get it. The Terrorgeist, he's not great. He's not what he was. And so the army, in my opinion, has shifted a lot more defensively. Now, 3-up save armies that can get the 2-up and stack saves have always been the bane of Fek. That was mitigated a little bit by having Terrorgeist who can mortal wound his way through things, and by Hoarfrost. But definitely in this matchup, that's very much on display. You can see, despite the numerical superiority and the sheer amount of bodies, it doesn't matter if you're pinned in and you can't get through 2-up save units. Horrors are amazing. They're crazy on the charge, but they're always going to be Rend 1, unless you can engineer the absolute perfect Hoarfrost.
Yes. Yep.
Which is far from guaranteed.
Yep.
But man, the amount of Fek plays like how I think Fek should play. It is a crazy horde of cannibals.
Yep.
You have so many bodies, and you have so many tricky things you can do with the board edges, moving things around. I'm sure there's more text that will be discovered. I haven't had a massive amount of time with the book, obviously. We're both firing from the hip here. But I look forward to seeing what other people come up with or finding the list. I think horrors will remain a fixture. But maybe the Morbeg Knights are great. I didn't get to do a lot with them this time, but maybe a reinforced unit of 6 on the charge. It's a lot of mortal wounds.
Yes.
And they are strong on the charge for their cost. Hollowmorn, 2 damage on the lance, 2 damage on the bats. Again, same problem, Rend 1, which we'll have to, collectively, the Flesh Eaters have to get together and figure out how we get around that. But overall, love the battle tome. Think the recursion is
very good.
Extremely strong.
And I think it's from at least from my perspective as an opponent, it's much more enjoyable to kind of see these pieces that you have to build towards and work towards building the recursion. As opposed to like what previously you had the recursion, which was great, but instead of returning units, you just got units for free.
Yes.
So you're playing with like 2,400 points up off the top, which always wasn't like, oh, then he's summoning 3 units for free.
That would be sweet.
Yeah, which was always a little odd. But I think this mechanic is more fitting. You know what I mean? It feels better.
I think it's great. I think what they tried to do is strike a balance between risk and reward. So you can sit back and just sit in your throne and farm the points. You can do the oration every turn to try and farm the 5-ups. But fortune favors the bold. If you are willing to take risks and get your courtiers and get your abhorrence into combat, you can get a crazy amount of summoning, a crazy amount of mustering. But it's all about weighing the risk and reward, and then cashing in on that, which is great. Love that system. Now, if we're talking also, if we're thinking about, I'm sure Soulblight players are grinding their teeth out there and be like, oh, they stole our mechanic, But if you really think about the volume of what I summoned, I think Soulblight still wins in that regard.
Yeah.
Over the course of a game, Soulblight is going to bring back more units than Feck will. But the units that Feck does bring back are going to make an immediate impact.
Yes.
They don't have, summoning sickness in that they can charge as soon as they get on.
Yep.
They're going to get in. They're going to get in with Carrion Call.
Carrion Call.
Yeah.
Returning more models after the unit's summoned.
Yeah. Lots of crazy stuff you can do to make 3-inch charges with the horrors as soon as they come back. So it's a different system. You can't really compare them side to side.
Yep.
Get less, but get better stuff. Big impact.
Yep. And yeah, man, we look at even just this one unit of horrors died twice over, nearly 1 wound away from dying twice over, and then it's back to full strength. It's like you said, reminiscent of what they did in the previous book.
Sure.
But here, doing it in a different way and still as potent as ever, though.
Yeah, I think if you kind of enjoyed there's a lot. There are other playstyles in this book, and there are very cool ones. There's a Monster Mash playstyle.
Yeah.
There's a Flare Shooting Bomb playstyle, which would be cool to do next time. But if you kind of enjoyed the board control, summoning, muster mechanics of last book towards the end with the Beast Flayers and stuff like that, I think you'll enjoy this book a lot. It's very good, very heavy on board control. Armies that do sort of attrition damage will probably find this to be a nightmare matchup. If you don't have concentrated force and you don't have heavy armor, this is probably one of the least positive matchups.
Tough.
It's gonna be really tough.
To sort through this, even I did have high saves and whatnot, and you think you can blow through stuff with the volume, right?
Yeah, the volume, for sure. But the old Feeding Frenzy will be missed. Fight Twice was good, and I think
especially when you were statting 4 attacks on the unit, extra attacks.
So that stuff will be missed. That explosive power is gone.
Yeah.
But we got some very cool stuff in exchange, and can't complain. Very happy with the new book.
Yeah. And the new starter set, we had all the new units that come in the starter set on display here. And I think the Crypt Guard didn't have to do much in this one.
They guarded.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did their job.
Just providing the ward and all that. So, yeah, very excited to see it all on the table. Mm-hmm. Guys, we're going to call it here. That was a long, bloody game. We hope you enjoyed that one as well. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you soon in another Battle Report.